Hey, thanks for tuning in to this episode of the Explore Local podcast. Just as a heads up, this is the final episode for season 1. It's been great having you listen in. We've been able to talk to major manufacturers, our higher education, tourism, and lots of different businesses and community partners. We hope that you'll tune in for season 2 coming soon. This episode is presented by Visit Cedar City Bryan Head Tourism Bureau. Discover the art of adventure at Utah's gateway to the parks. Cedar City is within a few hours' drive from 6 different national parks and monuments, and only 30 minutes from fresh snow at Bryan Head Resort. Check out visitcedarcity.com to plan your next trip. This episode is sponsored by the Cedar City Business and Innovation Center. Dedicated to supporting local businesses and entrepreneurs, it provides resources and services aimed at fostering business creation, growth, and retention. The center features the Makerspace, where entrepreneurs and small businesses can have access to 3D printers, video production and photography equipment, t-shirt printing, and more. Whether you're starting a new venture or looking to expand an existing one, the Cedar City Business and Innovation Center offers the tools and guidance to help you succeed. To learn more and get involved, visit innovationcenter.cc. Hello and welcome to the Explore Local podcast presented by Visit Cedar City Bryan Head in partnership with Cedar City Iron County Economic Development. Produced by Dallas Smith Media, and I'm your host, David Johnson. All right, today we have a very special guest who's actually no guest at all to the Explore Local podcast. We have Dallas Smith, who with Dallas Smith Media, it's his company. He's the producer of the podcast, and I just thought it would make so much sense to make Dallas come on the podcast himself and talk about all the great projects that he's doing in town. Dallas, welcome to the show.
Yes, welcome. Usually I sit about 3 feet away.
That's true. Listening.
Yep. Yeah. But yeah, I figure it's probably a good idea to, get on here, a little behind the scenes action.
Yeah.
A little bit of why we do this. Yeah.
Well, okay. I'm actually going to do something a little different that I don't typically do. I want to start right from the get-go. How did you get into this and having your own business to do videography and photography? Maybe give the highlight of kind of the spectrum of what you do. And I just really want to hear the story of what made you get into that. Cause I see you and you're an amazing professional, but in my mind, you're so young and what you're doing is amazing. So yeah, give me the highlights.
I don't feel young. This has been the year of the gray hairs.
Is that gray's been coming in? Yeah, nice.
Yeah. It's like I feel like it's like a badge of honor because I know it's from stressing about work.
You've earned those grays.
Exactly. I always thought I'd regret it. Like I'd be so mad, like dye my hair, I'm aging, but now I'm like, man, I kind of feel proud of it.
Yeah, it's true.
I started taking like some classes in high school. I've always been like creative, like into art and like painting, but I feel super grateful that like of all the creative hobbies, this is the one that I got into like seriously.
Yeah.
It's so hard to make a living as like a painter or a sculptor that I think like, wow, like this is like exponentially easier to like survive and pay bills, it in all of like the different creative industries, whatever, So I took like all the art classes in high school. I took everything except for ceramics.
Oh, really?
And I hated photography. I didn't hate it. I'd never done it because I thought it was for moms.
Well, it's funny that you say that because I always wanted a really nice camera. But then when there became this kind of trend of all of like the I don't know, mommy bloggers or the bloggers or whatever, like every trendy social media person had a really nice camera. And I'm like, it spoiled the fun for me. So it's funny that you say that.
Yeah.
So,
I was like, photography is for family photos that moms take. Yeah. It's not cool. So I took
no dig against moms or anything.
This is what I thought. This isn't what I currently think. So that was probably sophomore year of high school. But what I did think was cool and what I'd done since probably 3rd grade was like Photoshop, like editing stuff, like composites, like bringing all these images together, like making scenes, this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I thought that was super cool. but you couldn't take just like at least at my high school, like a graphic design class or anything like that. So you had to take photography. So I hated photography, took it for the class, did some Photoshop stuff, thought that was cool. Like photography was like, okay, whatever. And then but I was like, man, like I'm really picking up a lot of this Photoshop stuff. This is actually pretty sweet. And so I had ceramics scheduled for the second semester. I wiped that off, took photo 2 second semester of sophomore year.
Unforeseen twist.
Yeah, because I was like, this is actually like kind of cool. And then we learned that like, oh, like we can actually go longboarding and like take pictures of it. Like we can go like take these sweet like sunset longboarding pictures. You know, we can do more than just like take kids' graduation photos.
Yeah.
Like that's what I thought photography was, you know? And so then I took a video class, thought that was cool. Took like the second video class, took like the AP photo class.
Wow.
And TA'd for all of them, you know, and then took like some animation classes and 3D modeling classes and kind of got, I mean, in high school, you get like a baseline knowledge of it. You don't really learn to get good, but you have like a reason to like figure it out.
Yeah.
And so I got super into these things to the point that like I was falling asleep at night. Like I had this 55-inch TV in my room that was like pretty ancient. It was probably like that thick, like 2 feet, 3 feet thick. This old
classic.
But it was a big TV. I would fall asleep at night watching like tutorials.
Oh, really?
On like editing stuff.
Like YouTube tutorials?
Yeah. That's how I'd go to sleep at night. Just like super into like this stuff.
Huh.
And yeah, like then I graduated 2017. Yeah. You just kind of do it. You keep doing it. You keep doing it. You keep doing it. And like eventually, I'm sure we'll get into all the in between. That's kind of here we are.
Yeah. Okay. So you had this erroneous perspective that, you know, photography was just for moms taking nice family photos and things like that. And I kind of had a similar erroneous perspective, especially during the social media trends where there's all these little family blogs and things like that. And how has your view of photography and videography changed, and what is your view now?
I think figuring out like the marketing side of it, that like you can do things with like a purpose. Like you can take photos that like matter or important, you know, that people value. I did exclusively weddings for a while. And that's kind of what got to the point where you can actually like get paid and you can really like practice the techniques and the like little specific things by doing those.
The candid shots.
You can like really figure out the craft by doing that. But then when you start getting into like real people and real people's stories and like messages, you know, there's more to it than just like pushing a button. Yeah. You know, and that's what I think is really cool. And what we do a lot of now is real people and real stories. I've never been as into like narrative based or fictional or like telling like characters with script stories. We do some. But like real people that are doing cool things. Yeah. I think that's where it gets fun for me.
Yeah. Well, okay. So you talked about how that, and by the way, thanks. That I mean, as long as we've been, you know, known each other now, I've not heard kind of all that background of how you got into it. And that's cracks me up falling asleep watching editing videos, you know.
It's so nerdy.
That's amazing. But it shows like you're obviously a high interest and commitment to it, even if at that age you didn't realize where it might lead, right? And so,
it had to lead here because like that was always the plan. Like everyone else in high school is like signing up for colleges. Yeah, I was like, no, we're just gonna I would sit back in those classes when everyone else is sending applications. I was like, I'm not gonna do any of this because I have no plan to, because we're going to find some kind of creative thing that doesn't need college. If you didn't have to take generals, I might have, if I could just go take like some marketing or design classes and like
jump straight into it.
Yeah. But like, I don't know, the college isn't really meant for that as much, you know, then maybe I would have done something, but it was always like that. No, we're going to find a way to make, whether it's video or photo or some kind of like artistic thing happen on the side without having to go to college. It was like, it had to work somehow. I didn't know how, but it was like, oh, it'll work. The naive 18-year-old dude.
Well, I heard Jimmy Fallon actually talk about his obsession all through high school was to be on SNL. And he was asked, what would you do if you didn't get on SNL? And he's like, not possible.
Right.
He's like, I would have figured out some way. I would have been an extra in the background. There's some way I would have gotten an SNL, no question. And he just was adamant about it. What you're saying kind of reminds me of that. And so what I want to do actually is I'm going to ask you a question and then we're going to circle back around to like how you got there. So tell me right now, just high level, who are some of your current, that you're comfortable with speaking? Who are some of your current clients and companies that you do work for?
Yeah, so we put out everything on the Visit Cedar City page as the tourism office, which is in terms of quantity, probably the highest. We're putting out video a month. We're doing a video a week. We're doing these podcasts every week. We're just shooting all the events in terms of quantity. That's the highest. But we also shoot a whole bunch of stuff for BZI, all of their kind of family of companies now that they've grown into. I jumped on, started shooting some stuff for them. They were still a big company, but since then they have just blown up everywhere, which has been really cool. This past couple of weeks, we're deep in Shakespeare Festival, shooting all of those shows and putting out some promotional videos, some fundraising stuff for them. This year we've shot some stuff for the Summer Games. There's all kinds of just smaller, more local businesses just telling cool stories for pest control, real estate. It's just, I love it because there's so much variety.
Yeah.
In one day, you work on all kinds of different projects. On our project board right now, there's about 30 different things going at the moment that are in different stages of completion.
Yeah.
That are shot, that are somewhere between there and finished. That every day we're bouncing between 5 or 6 different things, just trying to keep everything on track.
Multitask.
Yeah. But there's a few of them. I hopefully haven't missed too many important ones, but yeah.
So then if in high school you're I'm not going to college, there's some way I'm going to figure it out. Still, I guess rolling with my Jimmy Fallon thing, he went and he joined a comedy group or even just a comedy place, and he was lucky if he could get a little time and do one small stand up, but he just kept working at that. So what was your story? What did you do for work after high school? How did you get from I got to make this work to it's working?
I made sandwiches at Jimmy John's for a long time. and luckily starting getting into weddings is they're all weekends. So you work weekdays at a normal job, you work a Saturday, you have a Sunday to hang out. But that was kind of my life. I started working at 15 at Jimmy John's and I worked there until I quit to do video. And it was probably 2020.
Okay.
A long time. But I always was working, and then just every Saturday going to do some kind of shoot. I started doing, stuff for free. And I'm a big advocate. I always tell people getting into it, you put yourself I think it's probably a little bit of an ego thing. You put yourself up here, no, I'm not going to do it for free. That's selling myself short. But you have to the biggest starting step is just to do something.
Yeah. You build the portfolio.
Exactly. You end up saying, no, I'll do it when a good project comes that's willing to pay a decent amount. Then you just don't do anything and you're just dead in the water.
Yeah.
So shot my first wedding for free. Next one was $100 or something. Yeah. Bunch of random stuff, super, selling it short, but you're just figuring it out. $500 to do a full day wedding, bridal shoots, traveling, engagement shoots, for really nothing. Yeah. But you end up doing that enough that eventually people see that and they don't when a high paying for this wedding, but now client, business client, whatever, they don't know that this person that had a good video, they don't know that they paid $100 for that. Yeah. they see it and they say, oh, that looks like $1,000 video, you know?
Yeah, it's quality.
So nobody, like, you do stuff for free or for really heavy discounts for a little bit till you're confident to be able to charge enough. Cause you'd hate to charge a lot of money and then like something messes up because you just are inexperienced.
Yeah.
So you do it enough to build up a good sized portfolio. And then all of a sudden, like, you have a portfolio and then you can charge like actual money.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I've really ever like done it for the money though. It's like you have to have money to pay bills. But I did it for free for a long time. And if I didn't have bills to pay, I'd probably still do it for free, because it's
you
fun.
love it that much.
Yeah. High school, like we were just going out for fun, shooting all these things, for no reason. Just it was fun. That's what we do during the week.
Yeah.
But most people are going playing sports, whatever. We were filming vlogs and videos at the mall. we were just like doing it for fun. And that's kind of, along the way you pick up bills that have to get paid, but it's kind of the same motivation. Like, oh, this is just fun to do,
Yeah, I know what you mean. Kind of making that high school comparison. So I have a couple of high schoolers, and when they were middle school and in high school, they needed to do student council stuff. So they came up with these like video ideas and put together like a script and everything. And then of course they recruited me because I'm a big ham, and we put together just the funniest videos. And my kids actually say, Dad, when they've run for student council, especially after the first one, they're like, Dad, we don't even care whether we win or lose. The whole reason why we run for student council is to do one of these videos that's like entertaining, tells who they are, and just is fun to do. And I catch my girls all the time making videos. They'll ask, hey, Dad, can we use your phone? Because I have a little bit nicer phone than them. And I'll find on my phone just these random like videos that they've totally made up, whether it's a story or they're doing something fun. There's a passion. It's fun to do that.
Yeah.
So what about, maybe this is getting too personal, were your parents like, now Dallas, you need to go to college? Or your parents always like, no, this is cool, whatever you want to do? Or maybe that's a little too personal, but like, most parents are like, oh, go to college and things like that. How did that?
Well, I always thought like, I didn't want to go like, I mean, the purpose of going to school for like something like this is they put you on like a track to like Hollywood. And that's kind of like the standard of like, oh, if you go into video, you're going into movies.
Oh, okay.
My mom would say like, well, I'd say like, I want to go, but like, I kind of want to do like everything.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to go and just be a cameraman or go and just be an editor. She'd kind of say like, oh, you got to like figure out like something specific.
Yeah.
I was like, no, I just want to like do it all.
Yeah.
And because that's like the track that like the traditional path would put you on.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, how can we just like kind of do everything? Like, what if I want to film it? What if I want to plan it? What if I want to edit it? I want to do the sound. I want to do the camera. Like, and that's kind of where we've gotten to now of like, you do these kinds of projects, you can get away with doing everything.
Yeah.
You go to college, you get put on a path, and most likely you're probably going to be a grip holding like a script or holding like a boom mic.
Yeah.
If you're lucky, or like standing by a light, and that sounds miserable. Like, you don't actually get to like do anything. Like a lot of people love that. That's like what they live for. But for me, it's like, no, like that sounds boring. I want to actually make something.
I was always very much I got to have a plan and I'm going down this path, and my career has not followed any of the paths that I thought, but it does incorporate a lot of the things that I love. But one of the things that when I went to college that somebody told me is and this kind of goes along with what you were saying, do as many internships as possible. So right at like my first year of college, that's what I did. For free, I would go to random businesses and say, hey, could I do an internship for you? Because I was public relations undergrad. So marketing, branding, press releases, things like that. And they'd always go like, well, we don't really have an internship. I would go to like Main Street businesses, these little mom and pop shops. And I'd be like, that's okay. I'll do stuff for free. If you need a flyer made, whatever you need, I'll just do it. And so I ended up making up my own little internships for some of these companies, just doing these flyers or random things. And then it built into doing actual internships. I remember one internship I went out to Washington, D.C. for, and on the little thing, it said it was a paid internship. And then I got out there in the fall and I told the lady, okay, what do we need to do to set up payroll? And she's like, oh, we only pay our summer interns. And that's when I got a credit card and lived off my credit card for a few months.
Yeah. I went and would go on like Google Maps and find businesses like coffee shops with like cool looking logos and like, here, let me animate out this logo, find their like customer support email and send it to them. Nothing ever like got me a job doing that. But down the road, like somebody, hey, do you do like logo animation? Oh yeah, check these out.
Yeah.
It's kind of like cheating because like these guys didn't hire me to do that. I just kind of did it because they had a cool logo.
Yeah.
But like do stuff for free and eventually like you have a pile of stuff to show for it.
Yeah. Well, and that's actually what I was getting at is even if somebody's like wants to do a traditional and get their degree, the point is you still have to go out and get that practical experience. Mm-hmm. Otherwise it doesn't do you much good. And it helped me leaps and bounds move forward with where I wanted to go. And clearly with you. And now eventually you worked for like a marketing media company, right? And then
I went directly from making sandwiches and doing video as a hobby to like working for a studio here in town.
Yeah.
And that kind of got just a different style of experience. Yeah. Like I had like the technical stuff. Like I don't know that I necessarily like picked up a ton of new like technical, like how to edit or how to definitely like improve like speed because you're doing it all day, every day. You can just like start working through projects a lot quicker because it's just like the muscle memory of your hotkeys, what you're doing. But learn just like different styles of doing more like commercial facing things.
Yeah.
To then like leaving there, doing my own thing for a little bit. We had a kid and then like the health insurance world and they don't tell you how to navigate through that in school at all, and it's like, shoot, like, what are we going to do?
Even in college, they don't tell you how to navigate that kind of stuff.
Yeah. It's like, we need some kind of like stability to like, just the unknown of like, what is life like with a kid?
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Right,
So I started working for the county. That's where we got connected with the Visit Cedar City stuff, shooting stuff there, and then eventually transitioning from employee to now contracted out, doing all the stuff still, and probably delivering more quantity, and now being able to have like employees that like we can kind of send out and just have better coverage, more quantity. It kind of made sense for everybody. It was kind of like a win-win.
Yeah. So tell me what made you go, or what made you feel ready to really take that leap and be like, that's it. I'm going Dallas Smith Media. I'm going full bore, small business owner. This is going to be my full-time gig. Not only am I going to contract with, Visit Cedar City, but I'm going to have a whole clientele. What made you finally go, let's do this?
Impulsive blend of ADHD and OCD and probably some other stuff.
Wanting to do your own thing.
Well, like it was inevitable, like that's the way I'd seen it. Like this is always like, I don't know, like a decade of like, eventually we're going to be like here, doing this. It's just like, what's the path and how long is it going to take to get there?
Yeah.
At what point do I feel like it makes more sense that like there's enough other stuff going, to like justify it?
Because you were still doing side jobs even.
Like a lot.
Yeah.
Like, but it's like taking vacation time, like sick time, weekends, and then also working a 40-hour job. And it's just like insane. Yeah. Like you can only do that for so long before it's like, at what point do we need to like restructure this and find a little different balance to make everyone happy?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because if you like give everybody like halfway, like that's a lose for everybody. How can we balance our time the most efficiently? Yeah, to make everybody happy. And this is kind of hopefully the solution.
Well, I know, and this is where you and I first met. I know when you decided to kind of go out on your own, you apply to the Iron County or our small business grant that we do with the rural community grant funding that we get through Iron County from the state. And you were one of the applicants out of 40 plus applicants, and and our committee, you made it all the way to the end, and you were one of our grant recipients. And I just remember thinking, man, and you have to forgive me for my terminology, but I thought, this kid is good. You know, I was looking, because my background in public relations and doing with marketing on large scale projects and, you know, economic development and working with these businesses, I just thought, like you said earlier, I saw some of your stuff and I'm like, I thought $1,000 quality, not $100 quality. And so tell me about getting that grant, why you pursued that grant, and what's that done for you as a small business owner?
Well, it's like everything was always in like like in our bedroom, at like our apartment.
Yeah.
Like, so it's just like stuff everywhere, inefficient. If anybody wants to do anything like studio related or like this podcast, which I think is super cool, we could never do anything like that.
Yeah.
You know, so it's always inevitable. You have to have like an actual space to run this thing out of. You can't just do it out at home. A lot of people do. But like I had this expectation of like, we're just going to kind of do everything. And I want to have like limits placed on it. It's like, if we want to do something, like, let's have a place that we can actually do it, you know, that's got backdrops or audio, you know, that we can just sit down, push a button and it works.
Yeah.
You know, we don't have to go through all this to set it up. And so again, it was inevitable. Somehow, eventually we'll get there. And like, we could have, I say we, like, because now we've kind of expanded and added some people, whatever. But at the time, it was just literally just me trying to figure this out. Like I could have done it like financially, like, but the grant was like literally just like a push, like, now you have to do it.
Yeah.
Like you got approved for this thing and they're sending you a check.
And it helps accelerate it.
And the check comes on this day and now you have to do it.
Yeah.
All right. So now it's like, well, here's some motivation to do it. And that's kind of why I did it, was like, okay, like we can just sit here and keep doing it and surviving. And like, it's really stressful, but like it works, you know?
Yeah.
But like, what if I go for this grant and then you get the grant? Well, now I can't sit here, or else like they're going to take the money away. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like now we have to do something with it. And so that was like the catalyst to be like, all right, well now let's actually do it and like do it right. You know, like let's not cut corners and try and do it on like, I don't know, lower budget stuff. It's like, let's get these mics that like do a good job. Let's get the camera that does a good job. Let's get a space that's not sketchy or whatever, kind of dirty. Yeah, exactly. Like let's do it and let's do it right.
Yeah.
You know, I've always said like anything worth doing is worth overdoing, which I've kind of thought about recently, and maybe not overdoing, but maybe because like sometimes you get kind of stretched thin, but like anything worth doing is worth doing right.
Yeah.
You know, it is kind of how I feel about things. Like don't cut corners, like do it the right way. Do it a little more than like everybody else is willing to put into it.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good recipe for success.
Well, I actually like that, because that is a classic phrase. Anything worth doing is worth doing right, which is what I thought you were going to say initially. But when you said overdoing, I like that, because it's saying that in my mind, you're doing it right, not just the bare minimum of what makes it right, but you're going above and beyond to make it good. Right. I love that.
Yeah.
And
I try and put that into like every part of life.
Yeah.
You know, like even like little things, you know, it's like, if we're going to like, if it's Christmas and we're building a gingerbread house, like, let's like do this thing, you know?
Well, the creative in you says it all on gingerbread house. Yeah.
I built like a Star Wars AT-ST, like the walker, like this tall with like legs, you know, it's like why
gingerbread house?
Oh yeah.
Version?
Like super glued.
You're
like,
gonna have to show me some
like
pictures on that.
Like legit, but like why just like, like just do something. It's like, let's do it like, and make it like cool.
All in.
You know? Yeah.
All in.
That's kind of like how I try and approach things.
Well, you said kind of an aside a second ago when you were talking about but in addition to being able, so you did the small business grant, you were able to open this studio, have kind of your own workspace where you don't have to set things up every single time. But it also gave you the opportunity. You started creating so much work. And this is kind of the premise actually of that grant, was that it creates more jobs. And you've recently hired someone to help you.
Right now we have, her name's Austin. You know her, but the people don't know her.
Yeah.
But yeah, just to help edit, to help shoot things, just the kind of, it's like, I don't know, there's so many important things that I need to focus on that, like some smaller things like kind of get not ignored, but like pushed back a little bit.
Yeah, because you've got to weigh your time where it's spent, right?
It's like, what's the most valuable use of my time? And like with business things, I always feel like I try and be like obsessed with efficiency. It's like, how can we focus 100% effort on something to get done as quickly as possible? And if that's like working through something and like realizing, shoot, this like editing system or like the process that I've set up this project is like not, if we're being like slowed down because it's just not optimized, it's like, shoot, let's like take a few steps back and kind of redo this so that like we can have a good system and we can push that in everything else and be as efficient as possible to just get this done super quickly. So we're not like spending too much time on one thing. So that's where it's been great to have somebody else to help, because I can like set up a system and be like, all right, I need you to do this, this, and this, and then pass it back to me. So I can do kind of, I'll say like the important stuff. It's all important, but like the more like creative side, the part that like people see.
Yeah. The vision.
Like, hey, do some setup, organize these things for me so that, and I'll set it up for you so that then I can take it back and then we can like really speed through and like get this thing done and deliver, So it's really been just like, it's like having two more hands to be able to multitask and do like two things at the same time has been really useful.
Well, and in addition to Austin, I know a lot of times when you're going out and you're doing shoots, I think we were at the Chamber Gala, there's a variety of things. I know you hire other local photographers to come help you.
Yeah, we've got a little bit of a network of like just people that we work with like consistently that are talented. But it doesn't quite make sense to have just like every day hanging out. It makes sense like once a week or every other week, something like that to, hey, come hop on this, whatever. Yeah,
jump on this job. Yeah, I mean, but it does make sense. And it shows kind of that ripple effect from you in high school saying, we're going to make this work, to where you are now, and that ripple effect of hiring other employees, contracting with other local photographers. I mean, that's amazing.
Yeah. Well, we just had our Drake Howell BZI podcast, and he said BZI's mentality is, the rising tide lifts everybody. Right. And that's kind of how it is here. Like, I completely ignore like competition. Like some people are like, oh, like, I don't want to like support like this other person in the industry because then they might take over. But I'm like, there is like so much work going on. Like, I'll bring like a talented person in to come help on a project because it'll boost them up. And then I'll get the benefit of it. It just makes sense. So like, why not make sure that everybody is successful?
Oh yeah. I love that about your mentality, because I've worked for the last 20 years with photographers and videographers, and some, especially the old school style photographers, are very, I'll use the word particular about rights to their photography. Like, I've hired people who they do a full shoot and then they give me like 3 little crops of videos. And I'm like, I paid you. I want all of your product or whatever, so that I can utilize it for other things. Some are very particular about copyright usage and you can only use it in these certain ways. And again, I've always been like, when I've contracted, I'm like, but I paid you for this photography for our organization or whichever, whoever I was working for at the time. And your mentality about like doing things for free for some companies kind of builds your way up, even though maybe you're not doing things for free necessarily now.
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
Well, if something's fun, then it's like, well, like under the table, like, don't tell anybody, but like, let's just do this for fun, you know?
This isn't an invitation for everybody to bombard Dallas Smith Media for free.
Sorry to interrupt, but like this is fun. Like if somebody can't pay the bill, but I'm like, hey, I like what you're doing. You know, it's like, let's just make this happen. Let me
help you out.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I was getting to is one thing that you said to me a while ago, I asked you, well, what do? You do billable hours, yada, yada. Cause I'm so used to that with some of the old school photography. You're like, we figured out with the job, we make it work. Cause I want to help people and businesses have good product and be able to sell themselves. And you've done just that. I've seen work you've done for, little businesses, big organizations, and the quality is the same. Some mom and pa, shop is getting the same kind of quality that you're putting out for BZI or Utah Shakespeare Festival.
Right.
I love that. That's amazing because it's so hard sometimes to get quality content.
Yeah. And bigger projects and bigger clients cost more money, whatever, for the money side of it, because they need a certain like priority and attention and focus.
And that's what they're paying for, really.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. But as far as like, it's going to look good. Yeah. It's always going to look good, you know? And so like you're talking about like how to like price things out. Yeah. And like, I hate doing things like hourly, you know, because, and it's the same with like any other job. Like, it's like, man, my time is worth $15 an hour and I'll spend an entire hour. I'm like, that was a long hour for 2 trips to McDonald's.
Yeah. Right.
So it's like, we most of the time charge like just a flat dollar amount because it removes any incentive to go slow. Yeah.
Which happens with hourly jobs all the time with contractors that I work with in every industry.
And I hate it. It's like, man, if we can just like remove all those reasoning, all the incentives to go slow. And it's like, man, the faster we get this done, but you have to do it. The hard thing is without compromising the quality.
Right. Yeah.
Like how can we like do this as efficiently and quickly as possible and get to this standard? Yeah. It's not just like, hey, how quickly can I throw something at you? Yeah. It's how quickly can I reach the standard to where I'm not spending 40 hours on a project.
Yeah. It's one of the things that you told me before too, is you said, I make more money. Instead of doing hourly, you said, I make more money finishing a project quickly and still maintaining the quality and then being able to do another job or another 2 or 3 jobs.
Yeah. Like, like it's a no brainer. You finish one project, you can jump on something new and you're not scrounging for extra little hourly, like that's just, it's just so silly to me.
I'm the same. So at the beginning of my career, this was about 20 years ago. I had a boss who gave me like 15 different things to do. And I'm like, okay. And I went back to my desk and I just started pounding them all out. And I can't remember if it was that afternoon or the next morning. I went to her and I'm like, okay, I got all that done. She looked at me really wide-eyed, and we charged hourly. And she looked at me really wide-eyed and she's like, there's no way you could get all that done in that time. I'm like, no, believe me, I got it done. She's like, well, then it wasn't quality enough and you didn't put enough thought and effort. And I kind of second guessed myself. I'm like, did I not put enough thought and effort into this? But I'm like, no, I really gave quality time to each of those things. And I felt it demotivate me to work quickly and still maintain the quality. And I found myself, at least that time, very early in my career, going, well, why am I hurrying and pounding all these things out and so like the next time around, I just took a little more time to do things. And I felt like the quality was exactly the same. I just took a little more time, like she said, and she's like, see, that's better. Right. And I'm like, so that took me a day to do. I spent 3 days doing a very similar list the next time. And the quality was the same. And she didn't know. I remember early in my career that irritated me. Right. And also when I talk about working with photographers and hourly, and I just began to loathe the hourly rate. So when you said that to me, I thought, man, you are so smart and so sharp to recognize that for what it's worth.
Yeah. Well, I've been told in the past, and maybe listening to this, if so, only love but to click slower
Yeah.
on a project.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wait, why would I click slower? Like, let's finish this thing so we can move on to something new.
Yeah, because they want that hourly
Right,
rate.
exactly.
Yeah.
I'm like, that makes no sense to me.
Yeah, I totally agree. I don't know. And that's in business. We're not talking like, the classic people making fun of government workers holding a construction sign. We're talking in business and those hourly rates. And that's not to knock businesses who do hourly rates. There's
Sometimes
a lot of businesses that, you have to. And there's a method behind that. I mean, a good chunk of the business world uses the hourly rate, but it's just funny hearing you say that, because I remember at the beginning of my career having very similar like perspective on that.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like I could give way more output in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I want to transition now. We've talked a lot about you, how you got here, but I want to hear about some of these really cool projects, because you've told me some stories and there's just some exciting things that you've worked on.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to maybe talk about, 2 to 4 different cool projects you've worked on. So
Okay.
I'll just let you throw out your favorites. Yeah.
We make the rules. There's nobody back there to
I know,
flash
right?
the quiz. I think like one of the most interesting that I'm sure I've told you, but the people don't know. For BZI, I think it was last year's Trackzilla project. I think it was last year.
Describe Trackzilla and all that.
Trackzilla, the world's largest forklift on 4 triangle giant tank treads.
Yeah.
Reaches, I don't know, many feet ridiculously high into the air.
Yeah, I say it's like cool. A forklift had a baby with a crane, is what I say.
And like a Russian like super tank, and it's orange.
Yeah.
But yeah, so biggest forklifts, I'm pretty sure they've called it that, the world's biggest forklift. We put it on this massive truck and trailer, paraded around Cedar City through the snow last year in the spring. And then we drive it down to like St. George, out through the hills, through like Lake Powell and Page, through Navajo Nation, through Texas, Amarillo, through sketchy farm roads, driving through cow fields.
And this is like an oversized load, right?
Massive with like lead and like follow trucks with like checking heights, and we're weaving through because it won't fit under half the bridges in America on like sketchy little weavy roads through nowhere. Anyways, through Texas, through Arkansas.
Made for good photography. Videography.
All the way through Alabama, Georgia. It's going to Savannah, Georgia as its first job site on
their Hyundai project.
Like unbelievably massive job site to go build these buildings. But we followed it through this whole journey, filming it, flying the drone around it.
Yeah.
Me and my second shooter for like maybe like a week and a half.
Yeah.
It was supposed to be like a 4-day journey.
Oh, really?
And we kept having to like reroute it because like, I don't know, like it wasn't getting like approved to like fit through. So we had to like avoid entire states and like all this stuff. So like, I don't know, like a week and a half journey just driving from Cedar City to Savannah, Georgia.
Yeah.
Going through all these cool places, going through Dallas. We stopped in Memphis, like just a super cool trip just to film a video about its journey.
Yeah.
And then like, we went back a couple weeks later to like film it, like working on the job site. That was probably like, I don't know, like for like clout or whatever that means. Like, like just like out of left field, like what in the world? Like that's probably one of the most interesting ones that we've done. But like, I don't know, there's all kinds of cool stuff. Like a couple months ago, I did like a Bahamas cruise for this sales group.
Oh, you
like
told me that.
Trip.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
That's like, I don't know, a week-ish flying out of, or sailing out of Florida to go film guys partying on a boat.
This was a company, right?
Yeah, it's like a pest control company.
And they were just doing a fun thing
based
for
out
their
of Florida.
staff.
All sales groups have roots in Utah.
There's so much truth to that.
Yeah. So flew to Florida, went on this cruise, filmed some hype videos for them, and then back, just like, I don't know, stuff that people like would say like, wait, what?
Yeah. How long of a cruise was it?
I think it was like a 5-day or something like that.
So you just got to go on this 5-day cruise, endless food and fun, and just video this company and their employees having a good time.
Literally just hanging out on the boat.
Wow.
And at the beach.
You showed me some of the footage on that, and it looks like a great advertising marketing piece for a cruise line.
Yeah. Well, like, I mean, I tell everybody, like, why don't you do something like you look at, like, from a business decision, sales group takes all their sales guys on this incentive trip. If you don't have me come, your rewards are like, the guys have a good time. They can tell their friends about it. Yeah. Might get them more help in recruiting. Maybe. I don't know. They've got cool stories. They might post some stuff like on their Instagram stories. But if you bring somebody with a camera that like can that knows how to use it and can like actually create cool stuff from the trip, you're like exponentially taking all your like benefits and like increasing them so much.
Just magnifying
it. Every one of these guys now has 100 photos of them on the boat that now they can be sharing and like showing people. You've got stuff that you can share on like your actual company pages. And all of a sudden now your results that are coming from it, you're not throwing money away, but you're celebrating these guys having a good time. Now, actually, it's a really awesome, like really productive, I'm sure, recruiting tool.
Yeah.
Just by getting a camera out there. So it's like, I don't know, some people will be like, oh, it's like, wow, you're working so hard. You're like just hanging out on a boat. But like, actually, no, this is like huge for businesses to like try and think about this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Same with like the Trackzilla. You drive it across the country. Regular results that'll come from it is it drove from point A to point B. Now, all of a sudden, it's being seen by thousands of people. And you're like, there was this social media bump during this whole thing because we were posting like the reels every single day. Like, we're going through Memphis, whatever. That like anybody, like regular people like that worked for BZI that posted like little Trackzilla reels, like the algorithms were just like amplifying this stuff. Yes, like you're taking your regular results and you're just like amplifying it like crazy just by getting good content from it. You're taking kind of nothing and getting something a lot. Yeah.
Creating the visual. And actually that's why I've always loved photography and videos is, like you can go back and reflect on those memories. One of my favorite things this is obviously way small scale is I actually love Google Memories where it just pulls up my own photos and like reiterates them or reshares them with me. And I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot all about this. That was such a great experience. Maybe we should go do that again or whatever the case might be. But when you're talking about the benefits, not only for promote it, when you do I wish more companies and organizations would do fun things for their staff. Maybe it's not a cruise, but something beyond just the holiday party, right?
Right.
And then you do something fun and memorable for the employees because it not only builds morale, but then you take that photography and those videos and it re-amplifies the morale. Right. But it also, like you said, it uses as a marketing tool. That's just so smart. Let's do that.
I feel like it's a no-brainer, and I feel like you're shooting yourself in the foot if you don't do it.
Yeah.
It's not like you're at baseline. If you don't do it, you stay at baseline. If you don't do it, you're going below. If you do it, you're going above. Yeah. So it's like a twofold jump,
Yeah.
And you talk about like the memories that pop up on your phone. I've done like for some like Vivint teams here in Utah, they've done like poker nights or like awards nights, whatever.
Yeah.
And like it's a fun night, but they go home and it was a fun night, and that's the past.
That's the end. Yeah.
But like we shoot all these videos, we take all these pictures, and now this stuff's popped up and people are just reminded about it. It's like you're just creating something out of nothing just by having a camera there.
Yeah, it's very true. Yeah, I've always been, before the age of the smartphone, I always carried a little like pocket camera with me and took a billion photos. When I first heard the term selfie, I kind of laughed. I'm like, what a dumb term. And I'm like, I've been doing those since high school, you know, or whatever, with a camera where you can't look. It's like the no look shot. Right. But I can't tell you how often when I go to track events or my kids' soccer things or an awards thing or something for work, because I'm just such an avid picture taker. Mm-hmm. I won't go as far as saying photographer. People constantly ask me for copies of my photos, whether it's a family thing or a work thing or whatever, constantly. And when I go to chamber things, people say, hey, can you send me copies of those photos you took? Because people want to relive that, but they also want to promote it, right? Anyways, I'm just reiterating what you're saying.
I don't think people realize the barrier to entry in photography, like, isn't that big. Yeah. You know, like, it's not all about gear. Like, some people will be like, oh, I have to have a nice camera to be good. Like, you don't have to have a nice camera, but like, you get a camera with a decent lens and you figure out like why people would use like the super zoom lens and just how it makes your photo look different. Yeah. Just by using this camera with this specific lens, all of a sudden it takes your photo from like, okay, that you could take on like a little iPhone to like, this is like you could win like a really nice like photo contest. Yeah. Like just by having this lens. Yeah. You know, there's not, like a lot of people will be like, oh, what camera should I get? Well, yeah. You know, it's like find something, you know, and use it and see what you like. And it's not really that hard, you know,
just go and practice.
It takes a lot of time to like figure out like some of the more specifics and like the manual camera settings, whatever, but like just start and you'll realize like, oh shoot, like you can actually take really nice photos, like starting out. Yeah. Just by doing a few little things right, you know?
Right. Well, like 10 years ago in a city that I worked for, I wanted to, my PR background, I wanted to do a little more marketing. I was doing economic development and maybe 8-10 years ago, somewhere around there. And so I bought a nice camera and it came with, you know, your standard lens and it came with a little bit longer zoom lens. You have to forgive me. I know you probably know the different zoom, whatever.
Big zoom one, yeah.
Yeah. And I remember like knowing nothing about a nice camera, but I've always had an eye for taking photos because I've always just, when I was growing up, I always had a little camera on me now since the advent of smartphones. And I just remember learning little tricks. And I would always use that longer zoom lens. And then recently, just for the first time, my wife actually got me almost that exact same camera, newer model of it with the same lenses. And I remember telling you about my little trick of using that zoom lens and just, you know, standing a little further back and getting those shots and how I used it because the way the aperture worked or how it blurred out the background better without buying an aperture lens. And I remember you talking about, well, that's because it compresses this and does this. And I thought, oh, there's actually a thought process behind that. I didn't even know. I just kind of naturally was looking for the eye on what looked best. Anyways, I'm
well, if I take a picture of you like right here on a lens that'll fill you in versus taking a picture 20 feet away and zooming in to frame it exactly the same, it'll look completely different.
Yeah, it's nuts.
And it'll kind of trick people into thinking, wow, that guy knows what he's doing. But actually that guy just stood 20 feet away and zoomed in.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, so it kind of compresses that image you were saying or the background and everything.
And you went from an iPhone selfie picture to now like what looks like a professional portrait. Yeah. Just by zooming in. Yeah. You know, and you can kind of, once you figure out some of this stuff, it's like, wow, you can make something that looks really nice for, you know, very little extra work. You took 10 steps.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, and that's actually what, now that you say that, after I kind of learned that when I was working that other job, and I'm like, I should try this out with my phone. And I did exactly that. Optical zoom, not digital zoom. Digital zooms sometimes can be funny, especially back then. But I would do just that. I would stand back and then I would zoom in with the optical zoom. And I'm like, these photos are such a better quality to do that.
Yeah, anyways, you can get a little 50 millimeter lens for $100, f1.8 that'll take your picture from being like so to like, wow, that looks really nice. That's $100. And it fits on any camera. The barrier to entry is just so small.
Yeah.
Well, you just have to do it.
Yeah. And get an eye for it. And that's kind of, I mean, you spelling out your experience and talking about doing weddings for free or whatever for free. That was you figuring out this device or how to get those right angles or those good shots. And that's kind of, I'm nowhere on the Dallas Smith level, but that's that's why a lot of people will say, hey, can you send me a copy of that? Because I just have been taking pictures so long personally that I know what I like better than, like you just explained, take those steps back, those little things, you can see the difference in the quality.
Yeah. I mean, you say like a different, like nowhere near the same level, but like I'll stand in the same spot and on the same lens, I can take the exact same picture. Like,
it's true.
Like, it's not like it's that crazy
of a difference
what you're doing.
Yeah.
You know, it's like maybe the lens is a little more expensive or whatever.
Yeah.
But like, really, it's not that much different.
Yeah.
Like it's like, oh, how do you frame it? Like, do you give them more headroom or less headroom? But like, you can crop later, you know, it's not that crazy. I feel like
I know what you mean, but I think the real skill, the real difference is knowing those nuances, right? Is knowing how to get the quality of this shot. I mean, all the time when I go to theme parks or whatever with my family and you ask some random stranger to take a picture with your family and it's like, you get the photo and you're like, yeah, that's okay. Yeah.
Everyone's chopped off at their knees.
Yeah.
It's like common sense.
Like, yeah. And I'm like, but I think a lot of people just don't know those nuances. And that's where your skill over time has really developed, is knowing those nuances and how to get that, whether you have your super nice camera or just your phone. Right.
Well, I think what makes the difference is that it becomes second nature versus doing it intentionally. I think that's one area that, there is a difference of like, maybe somebody that isn't super into photography will go take this picture and they've got to think through rule of thirds, you know, like how, like, oh shoot, what shutter do I want? What all this, you know, compared to pick up the camera, you know where all the buttons are at, you know?
Yeah.
That's kind of the difference, is we can take the same photo, but it's just like, do you have to think about it or do you just kind of move it? That looks good, you know, and you kind of just naturally
you see it,
frame things that way, or like, okay, this shot with like maybe one of these movements versus one of these movements, or just like stay steady. You know, it's just like the stuff that you don't think about that I think kind of is what starts to make the difference.
Yeah, I love
little
that.
things.
Okay, so other stories or other clients, I'm gonna pick you. What are some of the fun random things?
Well, one of the most fun clients / projects is the tourism office. Because in the winter, we're snowboarding and skiing and snowmobiling. In the summer, we're ATVing and hiking. And like, we've taken the helicopter, you know, like just really cool stuff that, you know, a lot of people would say like, that doesn't look like work.
Yeah.
You know, like this past winter was the worst, but like the previous winter, it's like every single week we were out there snowboarding, getting new shots.
Yeah.
You know, stuff like that where it doesn't feel like real that you're getting like paid for this stuff.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's one of the cool things. And that's just like for tourism. It's just so fun because there's so much variety. We can do anything. We can go ride horses, you know, like we can go talk with businesses, with restaurants, with shops. It's like, there's no limit. And you know, because the tourism office is willing to fund it because it's boosting everybody. It's, you know, the rising tide.
Totally is.
It's like a lot of these businesses, you know, little main street shops don't have a big marketing budget, but the tourism office benefits themselves when these businesses do well.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So if the tourism office in no way can be like the marketing wing for every business in the county.
Yeah.
But they can do a really good job at like, just building people up and like sharing really interesting stories. You know, like we had on the podcast, Casey at Dry Lakes. Yeah. Give her a shout out. Just like super passionate, super cool story. they've been running this ranch and raising these cows here for so long.
Yeah.
And just cool people that love selling meat,
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm sure I know they make a lot of money because it's an awesome business.
Yeah.
But like maybe they don't want to go spend all this money on marketing.
Right.
But the tourism office can say like, wow, like a lot of people are traveling a long way to support this business.
To buy from Dry Lakes beef. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's push them out there a little bit.
Yeah.
And so it's been really cool to do stuff from the tourism side of things where there's no limit. We can share the festival, we can share the businesses, we can share everybody and try and just find the people that are cool and like doing good stuff here locally. I think that's a really, really crazy opportunity plug Maria, the tourism office for like just being on board with this.
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of people would be like, no, like that's like, why would we do a spotlight on a business?
Yeah.
But it's like just the collaboration of bringing everybody.
Yep.
Like, I don't know. You look at a company like BZI, that I think a drastic key to what they're doing is collaboration and everybody. You've got, I don't know, how many employees did he say?
He said they're almost at 1,000 employees nationwide now.
But they're all working, like all their effort is put to like a point, They're all working towards the same thing. And if in the county, it's the same way, we've got everybody from the city, to the tourism office, to the festival, to the college, both colleges, Southwest Tech and SEU.
We've had them all on the podcast to highlight that.
Summer games. Like if we're like bringing everybody full circle to work towards one goal, like results can grow pretty significantly and exponentially, you know? And I think that's so cool that one, that the tourism office in Maria is willing to like bring everybody together, and two, that just everybody gets on board with it. Yeah. I think it's awesome. Yeah.
It's interesting. I have a few thoughts from what you were saying. One, I remember actually my first real introduction to you, my first like meeting you is when you presented and applied for, well, I probably met you at things briefly, but when you applied,
I have no memory of it.
Okay. But I probably saw you, but my first real meeting you and getting to know you was when you applied for the small business grant. But before that, what I really remember is looking at Visit Cedar City's website, and there was a couple impressions I had. One, Visit Cedar City Maria has an eye for marketing and quality promotion. Two was the level and quality of the photography, of the videography. I'm like, who is taking all this stuff? And so I had asked a couple of people, and they're like, oh, Dallas Smith. And so I would see you at little things here and there. And so when you applied for the grant, which, there was a committee that decided all that, I'm like, oh man, it would be great if he could do his own studio. So yeah, I was so impressed by that. And I think what you're saying about, well, and what you just described a second ago is also referencing to what you've said a couple times is, high tides rise all ships. And I remember you came to me, and this was not long after you got the grant, and you said, hey, Dave, Maria and I have been talking about doing a podcast. We need a host, yada, yada. Do you want to help sponsor or partner? And I'm like, well, right now I don't have the budget to do that. And we just got chatting, and we thought, well, maybe it would be cheaper and easier if, and I even told you, I'm like, well, I don't want to be self-promotional because that's not my intent, but I said, I'm willing to do it so we don't have to pay for a host. And it's just been an incredible partnership because what the Visit Cedar City does and what my office with Cedar City, Iron County Economic Development goes hand in hand for promoting the economy here, because tourism plays such a role in our economy. Manufacturing, small business, those all play a role. And, part of and this does do some promotion for recruitment, but one of the things that this podcast really does that people don't spend enough time thinking about is actually business retention and expansion.
Yeah.
And this gives, and a lot of things I work in, I can't tell what I'm working on with new business coming in, but on business retention and expansion, and our quality of life, we could brag all that we want. And this creates a great tool for that sometimes I was just in a meeting yesterday where we're talking about, okay, that for the region, how do we make sure not only we focus on business recruitment, but what do we need to do for better business retention and expansion? And I mentioned how my podcast, one of the unintended benefits, and maybe it was kind of there in our mind, but was so that the local community, our elected officials, our businesses, our residents can hear about what's actually going on in business and economic development and tourism and quality of life. It really, like you're saying, it melds all these entities together: SUU, Southwest Tech, BZI, the city, the county, the tourism office, brings all of us together, whom we all work together already as it is. And this helps us just highlight all those great collaborative efforts. Anyways, that's why I always joke. My real job is to be the hype guy, to tell about what we're doing so great. And this partnership between, your small business, Visit Cedar City, my Office of Economic Development, obviously the county and the city and all of our sponsors and partners. Anyways, I'm blabbing, you know what I'm saying, but it's just so great to come to that focal point, like what you were just highlighting.
Yeah. Well, I think like I'm from up north in Utah County, and there is just so many people and so many businesses and so many people that just want to get out there and everyone wants to grow their business, and how in the world could like the city and the county care about all of them?
Yeah.
Because it's just so big.
Yeah.
Here, it's like everybody cares about, like, people at the highest level care about the little Main Street shop.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And it kills me. And part of why we do a lot of focus on smaller local businesses, whether it's video or whether it's bringing them in here, is it kills me when they go under.
Yeah. And a lot of small businesses do.
Yeah. Couple restaurants that, like, my wife's favorite restaurant, Brick House, isn't here anymore. And that was like really sad. It's like, there, whatever reasons, caused it. It's like, man, I hate to see for any reason businesses disappear that we really loved,
Yeah, you want to see them be successful.
Yeah, it's like, how can we, bringing somebody on a podcast isn't going to save a business that's struggling,
When a podcast is one format, you mentioned some of the other formats, creating video, photography, even promotional things, the grants, there's a variety of things. So we're not going to have every business in the county, come on the podcast, but there's ways there's a variety of ways that we can help these businesses.
Right. How can we just try and prevent stuff like that happening? Yeah. Try and make them successful, or try and just like give them some tools to like, cause it's marketing in Cedar City has always been kind of tough, just cause, there hasn't been as many people that are like in that sphere, just doing marketing for people. So that most businesses just try and do it by themselves.
Yep.
And when you try and do all of your marketing by yourself, you do zero marketing.
Yeah.
Cause, it's really important. But like, if you're running a restaurant, marketing, I'm sure you see marketing as important, but what's really important is making the food for the people.
Right. Yeah.
And so you have to focus on that, when marketing is, I would say, just as important. You just don't, it's not on a day-to-day in your building what the people are asking you to do, And so we're trying to, focus on that and like, hey, this is important. You have to like get your name out there. You have to, it does so much if on your landing page of your website, you have an autoplay video that just looks professional.
Yeah.
Like, it does so much, and it's going to it's guaranteed to get you new clients, and it pays for itself. And not to just like say, hey, hire me, we need to do this. But it's like, no, like, let's like either save your business or like grow it significantly just by looking that much, just by having that much at the top of your website to look nice.
Yeah.
It completely changes like the fingerprint of what your business looks like.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And I like that you say that, because a few guests that we've had on the podcast have been like Jeremy Waite with the Business and Innovation Center, Southwest Tech, SUU, Mindy Benson, Brennan Wood, who provides some of those resources for these small business. So, well, if a business doesn't necessarily come on the podcast, at least this serves as another promotional tool to help them know and understand what are those resources available to them to make them successful. And I think that's one of the premises behind this, is to talk about the resources, highlight great businesses, highlight great quality of life, and just show what Iron County, Cedar City has to offer.
Right. Well, and that's another one when we talk about everybody coming together, is the Innovation Center and the Business Center, and what they're doing out there, and just the resources, the free resources.
Yeah. A business plan. They'll help you put together.
Right. Like, I don't know. I've never been in the business world enough in other places to know if that's standard.
No, it's uncommon.
Like I tell people that, like, oh, like if you have like business like questions, like you're looking at buying a business or starting a business, go sit down with Joni. For
Joni
free,
Anderson. Yeah.
And which I've done quite a few times, and it's been like unbelievably helpful. Even just like random little, like, I don't know, branding questions.
Yeah.
Like, hey, like, what do you think about this? But like, you can just go sit down for free. They can work on your branding, logos, products, like shoot videos for you for free.
Right.
Like, how crazy is that like all these resources are here?
Yeah.
I tell people that, like, I don't know, there's different ways to look at it. Of like, people will say, like, is it hard, like, running a business in Cedar City? Like, you're not in this big booming place. And I'm like, this is like, I compare it to like California during like the gold rush.
Yeah.
Because it's smaller, so it's not saturated with everything. But if you come in and you do something well, it's like you're kind of guaranteed to be successful.
Yep.
Like, we had John with the Grind come in. What was it? Like, they hand roast. They're like the only ones that hand roast coffee.
Yeah.
And like
imported from specialty areas. Yeah.
But in Salt Lake, that's probably nothing crazy. In Seattle, that's nothing at all, you know? But in Cedar City,
big deal.
That's like huge. Like, you can come in, you do it, and you're going to be successful.
Yeah.
So you come in here, you do anything really well, and there's enough people to need it, but not so many that it's just every industry is oversaturated with people doing it.
Yeah.
And fighting with each other. Yeah.
It's very true. I like that comparison. Cedar City's like the gold rush back in the day for California. We don't mean in oversaturation and overpopulation, but we mean an opportunity.
Exactly. Right? and the resources here that help everybody, it's like, it's a no-brainer to, like, if you have an idea that's unique and original and you're good at, you just have such a leg up here. Yeah. Compared to starting in a more populated city that might at face value seem like a better place to run a business. Right. Yeah. I actually really like that perspective. I'm going to start using that for my business recruitment. That's an awesome perspective. I think it's a no-brainer. Yeah. One thing you said too, and then we probably need to wrap up. I think we've been going for a while. Our clock. I got nowhere to be. Our clock faded out on us. But you mentioned with Joni and the Business and Innovation Center and Jeremy Waite, there's Governor's Office of Economic Opportunity, SBDC, Women's Business Center, Chamber, Economic Development. I can't remember. There's a variety of organizations that are all partnered on that Business and Innovation Center. Oh, of course, Southwest Tech, SUU, SCORE program. But one of the things that you said as kind of a side note was buying or selling a business. I never realized that until recently. You can go in and get advice if you want to sell your business, like, where are you at and how are you doing? Or if you want to buy a business, you're looking at a business, they can, for free, they can give you input on those types of things. I sent a family member to them looking at buying a business last week. Yeah. Just because, like, not everybody is, like, they're so experienced. The one like Joni and, Jeremy, everybody that works there. Grayson, that's the name I was fishing for. They're all so experienced in what they do. Yeah. That, like, regular people that want to, like, get into business, like, unless you, like, went to school for it, like, I don't know anything about business,
Well, it's
but I know what I like to do.
It's like what you were saying about insurance, having a kid. You're like,
Right.
they don't teach that in school, right?
Right.
And so it's nice to be able to go to someone who is an expert in these types of business dynamics or processes, whatever you want to call it, who can give you advice. Because we've said this on the podcast several times: is if you're a good baker or you're a restaurant owner or an auto mechanic, that's what you love doing, or a photographer.
Mm-hmm.
It's not managing the finances of the company. That's not your focus,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so, so you either hire someone to do it for you, whether internally, or you contract someone to do it for you, or you try to do it all yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where a lot of small businesses struggle, is they try to do it all themselves because they can't afford to hire someone or whatever. And so being able to have the resources here to help buoy up those small businesses with the things that stress them out so that they can focus on the things that they're passionate about to be successful.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we're doing.
Right. Yeah. Like if you lived anywhere else, you'd have to pay a lot of money to have somebody come in. If you're looking at, for this instance, like buying a business, you'd have to pay somebody else a lot of money to sit down, dig through stuff, help you decide whether this makes sense or not a good idea.
Yeah.
Like, it's free.
Yeah.
and
awesome.
And it's through Southwest Tech and these grants, whatever. It's just like, I don't know. It's a no-brainer that, like, wow, this makes so much sense. Of course we should do this for everybody, because you're gonna one, guy, I think, better quality businesses, and then probably just more to begin with.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, for sure. Well, it's this ending the conversation on this really shows what you were talking about, I don't know, a third of the way through, more toward the beginning, about what you're doing with your company is not in it necessarily for the money. Yes, you earn money. This is how you earn a living, but it's about buoying up the community. We talked about that with BZI, with Drake Howell before. We've talked about that with several SUU, Southwest Tech. It seems to be a reoccurring theme. And so it really demonstrates that. I'm just saying that the majority of our conversation, yes, we've talked about photography and you and things, but some of the most interesting parts that we've talked about have been about how do we support the community, right?
Mm-hmm.
And how do we make that happen? But
I think that's like the why, right?
Yeah, there you go.
When we pull people in to do these podcasts, it's always like we're trying to get to like the why do you do what you do,
Mm-hmm.
And we talked about Casey with Dry Lakes. The why is like, I love raising cows and selling meat.
Yeah.
With the grind, it's I love making coffee. And the why with this is like, I love sharing interesting people and interesting stories.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's the why of the podcast, of why do all of this? Why give all these people free marketing,
Mm-hmm.
free platforms? It's like, well, you have a cool story and we want to share it.
Yeah.
And yeah, forget like the money, whatever, all of that. Like there's bills that need to get paid, but like, how can we just share what you're doing?
Yeah.
In a way that it makes sense.
Yeah. Well, and in economic development, my why is I'm trying to help buoy up our economy. And doing that is not just bringing in new business. It's also supporting that existing business and helping them be successful. And I love that your why is helping tell stories in the community, that's part of it.
Yeah.
That's what you get passionate about.
Yeah. I tell people, what people ask, like whether they're older and like retiring and like, oh man, I just want something to stay busy, or it's like you're young trying to figure out what you want to do. It's like, find what you would do for free and then figure out a way to get paid for it to pay your bills.
I know.
And that's probably the worst business advice.
Yeah.
But for like life advice and feeling fulfilled, find something you do for free, because then it doesn't feel like work.
You're absolutely right. I have a cousin who I would play guitar when he was just little.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember him telling me, I wanted to learn guitar because you would always play. I'm sure there's more reasons. He loved listening to Rush and some of the classic rock and things like that. And I remember kind of showing him a few chords when he was first starting. And then all of a sudden he just got good. And he was all about music. He decided not, kind of similar to you, not to go to college after high school and everything. He was just all about the music. But now up in the Ogden area, he goes and he plays gigs. He'll travel once or twice a year to go play gigs in Colorado and all these different places. And he has his own bands and does solo stuff. But now he owns a music school. So your advice, I think, is real smart. And, I always knew my passions and things, but now I'm like, I wonder if I should have done something in running or, I think about some of my passions in arts or, running or things like that. I'm like, I wonder if I could have made, because I was too practical as a kid. I thought, oh, you can't earn money. Kind of like what you said about sculpting. Like, you can't earn money doing X, Y, and Z.
You can, but it's really hard.
Yeah, it's hard, right? And so all I saw was the hard rather than focusing in on where the passion lied. But so it's interesting where these roads take us sometimes.
Yeah. Well, it's like every high school basketball player can't go to the NBA. It's like you have to at some point be smart and adjust and change your course.
Yeah.
My plan was not always to do exactly this, but it was to do something maybe similar.
Yeah.
It's one of the best pieces of advice I've been given. It was from the guy who does marketing for it was like the group of companies that owns like Bath and Body. He did like all their marketing.
Oh, really? Yeah.
And he said that there's no such thing as luck, just being prepared when an opportunity presents itself.
There's no such thing as luck, just being prepared when an opportunity presents itself.
So I think about that literally daily. And I tell people all the time that you can't just hope to get lucky. You can't wait for something to pop in, but you can do the work that when an opportunity comes, you can jump on it.
Yeah.
If a project comes and you've done all this prep work to like you're confident that you can take it, then awesome, but just be prepared for opportunities to come. And that's kind of what luck is, because an opportunity comes in and you're not really prepared for it. That was pretty lucky, but
you can't capitalize
that's
on
the
it.
end,
Yeah.
Too bad.
Yeah. Now that you say that, I hear so many people Drake talked about this in our last podcast, but I hear people say all the time with a job that they got or whatever, they say everything just came together.
Right.
So that phrase, that quote that you did, actually it perfectly explains that.
Yeah.
Is people being prepared for that opportunity.
Yeah. But they didn't get lucky. Like everything didn't happen. Like all the cards didn't perfectly fall. They did a lot of work that when these opportunities did come, we could put everything together.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's the moral of everything. It takes a lot of time. I always think about the 10,000 hours. Who's that quote? What's the guy?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I can't remember.
Yeah. Just that it takes 10,000 hours to be an expert on something, but you're just kind of laying the path that when things come together, you can make it happen.
Yeah. That's awesome. All right. Well, Dallas, what do you want to wrap up with? What do you want to say?
Exciting stuff coming.
Yeah. I don't know. Like where are you looking to head? What are some cool projects with the tourism office that you have going on?
More of the same. I think we want to keep doing what we're doing. The goal is not to build $1 billion business. The goal is to keep just having a good time.
Yeah.
And making cool stuff, Yeah.
You found what you love.
Yeah. Like we're not trying to just expand ridiculously. Like this is what's fun, Yeah. We're going to probably jump into some new things. One thing that we've kind of teased out a little bit is like some social media managing.
Yeah.
I know that it's one of those hats that gets worn by the business owner that like they just never post on any of their socials and really do themselves a big disservice. But it's one of those things that just falls by the wayside because it's not a, mission critical on the day of I have to post this or else people are mad. It's like, it's kind of like a luxury thing. A lot of people, it's extra. So some full social media management of we'll come in, take your pictures, post everything for you, and you don't have to do any of it.
That's awesome.
And there's a number of local businesses that I've already talked to that are really think that's a really interesting opportunity.
Yeah.
And for me, it sounds like another no-brainer of like, this solves such a big problem. It's not for the money, it's to make people's lives easier. I think it's cool. That's one thing that's coming maybe towards the end of the year, maybe in the fall. But yeah, that's the new exciting thing we're thinking about.
Well, Dallas, I'm so glad we had you as a guest on the podcast. You've been the producer of the podcast, kind of the quiet guy, the great and powerful Oz in the background.
Pushing my buttons.
I know. Dallas Smith, the president, CEO, owner, founder of Dallas Smith Media. No, we forget all those titles.
We just make cool videos.
Yeah. And that's what I love. It's just so grassroots. But Dallas, thanks so much for coming on, and we'll have to do another one of these in the future too.
Yes, sir. Season 2, baby.
All right, there we go.
All right, cool.
See ya. Hey, thanks for tuning in to this episode of the Explore Local podcast. Just as a heads up, this is the final episode for season 1. It's been great having you listen in. We've been able to talk to major manufacturers, our higher education, tourism, and lots of different businesses and community partners. We hope that you'll tune in for season 2 coming soon.